Sometimes I'll start talking to a group of leaders in accounting firms, and I'll get like a little way in and I'll be like, okay, so here's what we did at GE, and here's what we did at Johnson & Johnson. The United States Marine Corps, we did this. The United States Army, we did this. And somebody will actually interrupt me and be like, don't you get it? These are accounting firms. We're different. So I just want you to know, I get it, you're different. And I've had the pleasure, I would say, and the honor of working with a lot of folks in the public accounting world. I've had a chance to work with some of the very large firms and with some of the regional firms. I spent a good part of the spring training partners and senior managers in one of the big regional firms. We did 14 10-hour sessions. So I spent 140 hours. Are you with me? Okay, so with partners and senior managers in one of the big firms, we trained everyone. So I know a little bit about what it is you guys do. I don't want you to think I think I'm an expert on what you do. You'll have to be the experts on what you do. But I know enough about what you do to know that you're different. So you be the experts on what you do, and I'll bring to the table the research that we've done. Here's what I bring to the table. For the last 14 years, we've been doing research on the front lines of the workplace. And our research is a little bit different. Now, we've done research in a wide range of industries, including lots of professional services firms, lots of accounting firms. But our research is a little bit different, because what we do is we ask open-ended questions. So we've interviewed thousands and thousands of people over the last 14 years. But our interviews are open-ended. So we ask people, how are you being managed? And then we listen. How do you want to be managed? And then we listen. Tell us about your best boss. And then we listen. Tell us about your bosses who are not as good. Why do you go work someplace? Why do you leave? And then we listen. And our interviews are open-ended interviews. We talk with people as long as they're willing to keep talking to us. So some of our interviews last a couple of hours. A lot of our interviews have been going on since 1993. And that's true, they're long-range interviews. So everything I'm going to say is based on what is now 14 years of research, thousands and thousands of long-range interviews. We also do polls and focus groups on an ongoing basis. We've looked at the management practices of 700 different organizations. We've looked at internal survey data from more than 300 organizations over a 10-year period. And let me tell you what our number one finding is. Are you ready? Here's our number one finding after 14 years of research. It's getting harder to manage people. Yes, we've done 14 years of research to come up with that. I know some of you are thinking, you could have just called me. I could have told you that. And if I've interviewed you and you're in this room, I promise not to reveal your identity. For me, what's more interesting is, why is it getting so much harder to manage people? Why? And I think there are two basic reasons. The first reason is that the workplace is becoming more and more high pressure. And the second reason is that the workforce is becoming more and more high maintenance. And the first thing I want to do this afternoon is talk a little bit more about why it's getting so much harder to manage people. That's the first thing. The second thing I want to do is tell you what leaders and managers in professional services organizations have been telling us. And I want to tell you what I think is going wrong, or maybe where the opportunity is to improve. And third, I want to zero in on what we're finding the most effective leaders and managers are doing differently in today's environment. And in particular, I want to share with you, what we've been doing. When we train partners and senior managers in firms, what are we teaching them?
I'm Bruce Tulgan. I'm recording this message to encourage you to take advantage of the P3 Management Summit in Kansas City. Come, send your leaders and managers. I've learned over the years from working with a lot of leaders and a lot of public accounting firms that people often move into positions of supervisory responsibility in professional services firms because they're good at being professionals, but not necessarily because they're good at managing people. Maybe we teach them how to do a little extra paperwork, but we never teach them how to do the people work. I want to encourage you to come to the P3 Summit, send leaders and managers throughout your firm to the P3 Summit. This will be a chance for them to learn some back-to-basics techniques in leading and managing other professionals. And as a result of the conference, maybe they'll get some of the management training that they need, and this will help them be more effective when it comes to playing that role in your firm.